Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today answering your questions on the Bigme Hibreak Pro. So a quick disclaimer before we start. Bigme sent me this phone for review, but all of the opinions in this video and the accompanying review video are my own honest opinions. If you like the look of the phone, do check out the links in the description to the video where you can find out more information and purchase one should you want to. Those are affiliate links, so you will earn me a small commission for the channel if you use one of those links. So if you do that, thank you very much. So a couple of days ago, I put up a review of this phone. This is the Bigme Hibreak Pro, which is a full-featured smartphone, but with a black and white e-ink screen. In preparation for that video, I put up a post on the Bigme subreddit on Reddit asking for questions from people, and I also got a few questions in the comments on my unboxing video for the phone and also on my review video. So think of this video today as kind of a follow-up to that review with answers to as many of those questions as I can answer. In the interest of getting this video out quickly, I won't put in footage to illustrate all of the points that I'm making, but there's a couple of things where I will put in some footage so you can see what I'm talking about. The first thing I wanted to update you on though was when I made the video the other day, I didn't have Google Pay, like Google Wallet tap to pay, working on the phone. That is now working absolutely fine. I've managed to register all of my cards on it and I used it to buy my groceries this morning. So in exactly the same way as in the past I've used Apple Pay on my iPhone, I was able to use Google Wallet on the Bigme device and just go into the shop and use it to tap to pay. So that all works absolutely fine now. Right, let's go through the questions then. So the first one is, what's the battery life like and what's the charging time like? So I did cover battery life in my review video. I get about 2 days, and by 2 days I mean from like the morning of day one to the evening of day two without any problems with the battery. I've even had it run all the way to the following morning, so like a full 48 hours, and I'm using it a fair bit at the moment. So I think the battery life is really pretty good on this. Charging time, so it does support 18-watt fast charging. I think it charges fully in about 2 hours, something like that, but you get a decent charge within kind of, half an hour to an hour. So I definitely think you could probably get away with charging this phone for no more than half an hour every day, and that would keep it topped up enough for you. One of the questions a lot of people have asked is about Android Auto. I'm not able to test that because I can't drive, so I'm afraid I can't test that, but I believe it should be working. But my general kind of positioning with this phone is, if you expect an Android phone to do something, this phone will do it. As I go through this list of questions, you'll see the answer to almost all of these questions is, yeah, that just works. That's been my experience with this phone. Everything seems to work just fine. Next question then is call quality. So call quality is fine. I've made calls on the handset, I've made calls using the loudspeaker, and I've made calls through my AirPods. All of those, sound quality absolutely fine. Next question, GPS. So GPS works fine. I've got Google Maps on here. It is, because of the black and white screen, it's not quite as clear as it would be on a colour screen, because you just haven't got that colour to denote different things. But certainly when you have when you've actually got it in navigation mode and it's giving you the directions, it's really clear and easy to use. Next question, torch brightness. So the brightness of the LED torch on the back of this, so like most phones, it's got like a flash or torch on the back. Seems to be absolutely fine. I used it to look in the airing cupboard for something yesterday, and it was lighting things up as much as I would expect a light like that on the back of a phone to do. Launchers, so I did cover this in my video. So launchers, if you don't know, are like skins you can put over the top of Android devices. So what you can see here is a launcher, so that's Nova Launcher. Oh, it's gone into Google Keep, so that's Nova Launcher. Yeah, works absolutely fine. The phone light never comes out of the launcher. I know that's a problem some people have had with launchers on other devices. Sometimes when you tap the home button or something like that, it comes out of the launcher and goes into the stock launcher. That hasn't happened for me at all with Nova Launcher. Camera quality, so I did cover this a bit in my video. I'll put up some photos I've taken with the camera over me talking now, but basically the camera quality is okay. It's definitely not as good as my iPhone 14 Pro Max, but it's decent. It does struggle with like focusing close up on things, but generally speaking, I think if you've got decent light quality, the pictures are pretty good. As I said in my review, one of the limitations of the phone is because it's got that black and white e-ink screen that doesn't refresh as quickly as an LCD screen, actually taking the picture can be more difficult. And also, like looking at the picture after you've taken it, clearly you're only going to be seeing it on a black and white screen if you look at it on the phone. So that's not as good as like a regular smartphone either. The video quality is a little bit jumpy, so I think again, like watching the video on the black and white screen, because the frame rate isn't as high as an LCD screen, is a bit of a strange experience. But also just if you are manually holding the phone rather than having it mounted on something, there's a little bit of shake. So I think the optical image stabilization in the phone, that there isn't that much of that, shall we say. Next question then, bloatware. So you do get a load of like pre-installed apps and things like that from Bigme on here. So there's like let me try and find the list and go into it. So you've got Bigme GPT, Bigme voice to text is on here too. That works very well indeed, actually. I was very impressed by how responsive that was. Apart from that, there isn't that much preloaded stuff on here. There's Color Dictionary, which is okay, and there's a Bigme translation app as well, which seemed to work decently. So yeah, I don't think, certainly compared to some of the other e-ink devices I've had, this doesn't feel like it's got a lot of bloatware on there. And the things that Bigme have put on here are actually quite useful. Next one then, NFC. So as I've said, my NFC, Google Wallet, all works fine now. Used that this morning. Can you use Google Maps navigation with the screen locked? Yes, you can. So when you lock the screen, if you're in navigation mode, it will put the prompts up on the screen. Handling running apps in the background, yeah, everything seems to work as you would expect with things running in the background. Somebody asked about the compass as well. That seems to work absolutely fine in the Maps app. I did install a compass app as well just to test it, and again, seems absolutely fine. Are there any issues with using apps in general from the Google Play Store? So I haven't noticed any, and I've had loads of questions from people asking me, will it run app X? Will it run a specific app? All of those apps, and there are about half a dozen of them, I've downloaded and tried. So there were things like Perplexity, Pokemon Go, Pokemon TCG. There were a couple of other things as well, To-Do List or Todoist. So I've tried all of those and they all work fine. So I think, based on my experience so far, there haven't been any apps on the Google Play Store that I've tried to install, either ones people have asked me to test or ones that I wanted to use myself, that haven't worked just fine. Next question, does the security pin still insist on being 6 digits? It looks to me like it can be 4. Certainly when I first got the phone and tried that, it can be 4. Somebody else asked if you could have like pattern recognition as your security lock, and you can on this. I have to say the fingerprint button on the side works really well indeed. Haven't really had any problems with that. Next question, when you connect to Wi-Fi, what does the Hibreak show up on the network? It showed up as just like a generic Android device or something. It just showed up as Android. Okay, next question then is, how does the screen refresh compare to the original Hibreak? So it's definitely a lot smoother. So I tried watching a video on both earlier on, and it definitely looks, like the refresh just looks better on the Hibreak Pro. I don't know if that's partly because of the colour overlay, the Kaleido 3 on the Hibreak, but it definitely looks better to my eyes on the Hibreak Pro. Next question then is around Google Assistant. So Google Assistant, I still haven't managed to get working here as like an overlay over other apps, if that makes sense. So I can't say, hey Google, and it like comes to life. It works fine if you open the Google Assistant app, but I haven't been able to get it working in other ways, which is what someone was asking about here. Next question then, translation from Chinese to English. Yeah, I've tried that in the Bigme app and that seemed to work fine. Well, rather, I tried translating from English to Chinese. Obviously, I don't speak Chinese, so I don't know if it was translating accurately, but it definitely was doing a translation. Next question then, does swipe typing or texting work? Yeah, so I've got Gboard installed on here, and swipe, like typing by swiping, works absolutely fine. And Gboard I found really responsive on this. I tried typing on both the Hibreak and the Books Palmer in preparation for this, just to compare in my mind what the type experiences were like on all of them, and it's so much better on the Hibreak Pro. The screen is just faster, it just feels very natural to type on. Next question then, is the software stable enough to use as a daily driver? So I've been using this as my sole phone for the last week and I haven't had any problems at all. It really feels like a very solid and stable phone. So I wouldn't have any concerns about using it as your main phone at all. Next question, can ChatGPT be installed? Yes, as I said earlier, with pretty much every app I've tried so far has installed just fine, and ChatGPT was one of those. How does Microsoft OneNote work? OneNote seems to work absolutely fine. Somebody asked if you can use a stylus with it. So this doesn't, you can't like buy a stylus from Bigme that will work with this phone. I think there are styluses you can buy that will work with any phone, and I assume that those would work with OneNote, but I don't think they work brilliantly. So the answer is, I guess, kind of. Next question then, media control on the lock screen. Yep, so you get, like, when the phone is locked, if you're listening to Spotify or something like that, it will show up as a widget and you can manipulate that. Next question then, app widgets, can you add app widgets on screen? So in the stock launcher, if you swipe to the left when you are on the home screen, there's a screen where you can add widgets to. In Nova Launcher, which I'm using, you can add widgets wherever you want to. Web-based apps, so yeah, tried a few web-based apps in Chrome like Gmail and things like that. They all seem to work absolutely fine. What's the size difference to the original Hibreak? So I do have my Hibreak in the case, which makes it slightly bigger than it would be otherwise. But yeah, the Hibreak Pro is a little bit bigger. It's not massively bigger, but it is a bit bigger. Okay, next question then. And I would also say it's basically the same size as my iPhone Pro Max, but it's quite a bit lighter than the iPhone Pro Max. Next question then, so a couple of questions about connecting things via USB-C. So one question was, can you display out via USB-C? So I haven't been able to get that working. I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong, but that hasn't worked for me. You can like cast the screen, so you can send the screen to, like Wi-Fi enabled TVs and things like that, and screen share, and that seems to work fine. I've tested that. Someone was also asking about plugging in a USB-C microphone, so I haven't been able to get that working. I can use Bluetooth microphones with it, they work fine, but a USB-C microphone I couldn't get it to recognise. But again, I don't know if that's the microphone I'm using. So I'm using the microphone I use for recording my videos, which is a Yeti microphone, but via like another dongle to make it work with USB-C. So I don't know if that is what was causing the problem. I have also used a Bluetooth keyboard on this, which somebody else asked, and that worked absolutely fine as well. Okay, QR code scanning mostly works fine. I have had a couple of times when the phone has struggled, or the camera has struggled to focus properly. So I've kind of blown up, I've made the QR code a bit bigger, and then it's worked absolutely fine. Comparison to the Books Palmer. So I have a Books Palmer here, which is a very similar looking device. The Books Palmer doesn't have a SIM card slot, so you can't use it as a phone. It's just like an Android e-reader. Like size and feel are definitely very similar, but the Hibreak Pro is much more responsive. So I said already, like typing and things like that, much better on the Hibreak Pro, and just generally it's like faster to navigate around and things like that. I think the only thing that the Books Palmer perhaps slightly has an edge on, it looks to me like the light on the Palmer, like the screen light, goes slightly brighter than the one on the Hibreak Pro. But apart from that, I would have said the Hibreak Pro is better in every regard. Next one then, push notifications, or sorry, notifications with the screen locked. So yeah, those work absolutely fine. Push notifications from messaging apps. So again, yep, those work fine. I've used WhatsApp quite a lot on the phone, and that's been perfect. Any issues with background Bluetooth syncing connections? So no, so I'm using it with my main headphones I've been using with it are AirPods Pro. And those have been working fine. I've also got some Sony noise cancelling headphones. They've been okay as well. And I've got it synced to my Fitbit too, which has been okay. And as I said, I've used a Bluetooth keyboard with it too. All of those things have been fine. Final question is speed of typing and response time. So I've kind of covered this already, but generally speaking, well, not even generally speaking, it's fine. So really responsive. Typing is a joy on this thing. I really like typing on it. As I think I said in my other video, I feel like I'm as fast typing on this as I am on my iPhone, and I've been typing on an iPhone keyboard for years and years and years. So yeah, typing is really good. Swipe typing, as I've said, works fine, and it's just really quick and responsive generally. I've got no concerns at all about the responsiveness of the device overall. Okay, we're nearly at the end now, so final question actually. So someone who's hoping to completely move to the Hibreak Pro from an LCD smartphone, I'd appreciate hearing the downsides, what you miss about making regular smartphones functionality. So really, I think it's two things. So it's the camera. Definitely, I do kind of miss the camera on my iPhone, but it's also just having colour is both a plus and a minus. So having colour definitely makes some apps work better. So I said in my review video, for example, I can't play Wordle on this phone because of the use of colour in Wordle, and Google Maps, as I said before, I think works slightly better in colour. But the downside of colour is exactly the thing that this phone is designed to cure. Is colour on your phone like sucks you in. It makes you want to use the phone more. And this is a phone that makes you want to use it in a more considered way. So I actually don't mind the lack of colour. There are some slight drawbacks to it, but generally speaking, I really like having a black and white phone. I'm really enjoying having a black and white phone. So yeah, I don't really have any regrets about moving to this. I'm really enjoying using it. I'm going to keep on using it. I'm not saying I will use it as my sole phone forever, but certainly at the moment, I haven't missed moving from my iPhone. And I am going to do a separate video where I talk about that, where I talk about the experience, talk about the pluses of moving over to this kind of phone, because I have really enjoyed the experience. Anyway, I think I've managed to answer all of the questions that I had. If you've got any more questions, do leave them in the description to the video. Oh, sorry, there was one more actually, which was, what's the phone like to use in bright sunlight? It's fantastic. It's much better than an LCD phone in bright sunlight. The screen is it's designed to work really well in sunlight. I really like using this phone outside. It is incredibly clear. So yeah, that was the final question. So yes, I will leave it there. Do look out for, so if you haven't watched my review video already, worth watching that for some more information and more demos of things on the phone. And as I said, I will be making a video about the process and what it's been like to move from iPhone to this Bigme phone. But yeah, if there are any other questions you've got, leave them in the comments and I'll try and answer them there. Anyway, I will leave it there and say, as always, thanks very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.